Good day, and welcome to this presentation of Photoview Web 8, the new system to reduce the time to market. We believe that Photoview Web 8 is really an innovation, and it is really a great step in future because as we are going to show you today, it is a system helping you to improve the daily work of anybody dealing with lighting. The modern world. As you know, LEDs have changed the world because the speed with which the company faces the market, it is not what it was in the past. So we are working at a much higher speed than what we were used to in the past. So the world today urges us to innovate and to see the future in a different light with different instruments. It is not possible to go on working with the old systems. We need something more. Let's analyze what are the new requirements coming from, for example, the manufacturers. So the first one, obviously, is to update product data frequently. It means that, for example, if we consider that the LED's characteristics are changing in a short time, in a much shorter time than it was in the past. So, for example, there is the experience of my family. We introduced a floodlight. We were a manufacturer of luminaires in the past. It was introduced in the first 70s, and this floodlight for stadiums was on the market for roughly 40 years. This is not what it's going, and it's happening now with the LEDs. So we need something to update product data frequently because they change frequently. Then we need to increase information power. So the simple polar diagram is no more what we need. We need much more because there is a huge need of more information related to the product than before. So just consider what is the request of all color characteristics that the manufacturer has to supply to the market, to the designers. And reduce data preparation and time to market. Because if you consider, as I mentioned you before, 40 years for a product, if you delay to send information to the market, let's say 1 year, it is nothing. But if you delay 1 year to send the right, proper, updated information to the market after a year, so your product is lost in the LED world. So we need to reduce data preparation and time to market times. But on the other hand, there are more requirements coming from the market of the lighting designers, for example. So they need to access product data quickly and easily. They don't need to spend too much time on searching products. They have to complete and always, they need to have complete data and always up to date. And they need to quickly transfer product data into their own applications. This is the goal that we have, for example, in the BIM world. The new methodology we are facing now, and it is going to be probably the methodology of design in the future. So, as you know, if you transfer the information, you have to transfer them through a data interchange file. And for example, the file that all the world besides lighting is starting to use more and more is the IFC file. So we have to prepare the IFC file in the quick way and to transfer it to the market. The IFC file is, from our point of view, the only file that we have to consider for the future. Nowadays, so what's happening nowadays for the companies? They locally create the interchange files, graphs, and charts, and then they upload them to the company website. And often it is done manually, less and less, we can say, but it is still happening in this way. But whenever most of the manufacturers upload their information, for example, the LDT files, the photometries, or the ISLM63 photometries, they upload them usually in zip files. So what is the disadvantage for the designer? They have to search the product, they have to find where it is possible to download the information, they download the zip file, and then they start to open one by one the different information up to when they find the product and the configuration of interest, because this is another big problem facing now the world of LEDs, because having only up to now used the LDT and IS files, if you want to manage the flux and power in function of current configuration, you need to prepare one file with one set of flux, power, and current. And you can imagine that if you have a product with a current range in between 350 milliamps and let's say 750 milliamps, it means that you have set of 50 milliamps, you have a great number of information, and it is quite time consuming trying to find the way and to find the best solution, the best product, opening one by one. So we need really something more. So from what we said before, the disadvantages that you have in this way is that it takes a long time, as you can imagine. Tens of thousands of files to manage, because I am coming back from a meeting with a company, and they said to me they were very proud to tell me that they have at the web, it's unbelievable, 5 million configurations, 5 million LDT and IS files. So it means that 5 million plus 5 millions. Why? Most of them are coming from the multiplication of the same LDT file for the different set of flux power in function of currents. So you can imagine that it is really a big problem, because if you multiply 5 million by the corresponding polar diagram, then we have 15 million files. But if we had, for example, all the files related to the TM30, IS the TM30 color analysis, then we have 5 million by, so it's really a problem. So up to now, for all the problems that we faced up to now, usually the management of little information is brought on by the manufacturers. So they don't have the force to manage all those information. So really, something new is needed. So we had an idea, a very simple idea. In order to upload all the information at the web, we create locally just the basic files. It could be the OXL file, the LDT files, the ULUM.dat files, the IS file, or the brand new IS XML file. So the OXL file is the file that it's an XML file that we started to develop on 2005. So it means 17 years ago. And I have to say that it was really, from our point of view, the proper choice, because it gave us the opportunity to manage in a very simple way a huge set of data related to the same product. Then we upload them to the company website server, and last, convert them on the fly directly from the website and at the request of the designers into technical data, graphics, tables, interchange files, reports. So anything that can be developed from a single file, we can convert it into all these options. And really, from our point of view, the solution is Photoview Web. Photoview Web is the system capable of performing all the management of data I introduced up to now. What is Photoview Web? Photoview Web is simply a web server for the automated management of photometric and spectrometric data of luminaires starting from the set of files that I have already introduced. And this is an example. So this is an example of the application of Photoview Web with our web catalog. So we have the web catalog, and in function of the selection made by the designer, the program is automatically producing the graphics, as you can see here, the ISTM30 diagrams over here, directly at the website page. And what do we use to prepare and to manage all the system? Photoview Web interfaces with the product section of the company's websites through API, Application Programming Interface functions. They are very simple functions, and over here we have a set of these calls used by the program. So for example, in here we have the call to the Photoview Web uploading the file. So we ask the system to take the OXL file and we upload it to the server, which is now placed in Germany, in Frankfurt. Then we start to send the request for the production, like in this case, of all the information related to the photometry. So, for example, glare parameters, lighting classes, and all what we can produce through the photometry of a luminaire can be brought down through this feature. But it is in the same way possible to do the same with all information related to the spectrum. So the color coordinates, the CRI, the CCT, the DUV, and whatever you may need, you can download from the spectrum point of view through this function. Then, for example, in this case, we have the function to prepare ULUM.dat files. And last but not least, generate graphics. Like in this case, we generate the spectrum. And so this is an example of the application of to interface Photoview Web with the product page of a manufacturer. So in here, we have the functions that the manufacturer selected to show to his clients. In this case, they chose to have the polar diagram, the Isolux curves, and to have the graphics of the ISTM30 color analysis. But then they want to supply also to give the option to download the LDT files related to this product, to download the IS-LM63 or the ISTM33, the new IS-XML file. So the user selects ISTM30 graphs, so for example this one. The website passes the OXL associated with the product to Photoview Web and the request to create the ISTM30 graphs. And Photoview returns automatically in 40 milliseconds. This is really unbelievable. We tested the production of thousands of files at the same time, and the answer is always the same, 40 milliseconds. It means that there is absolutely no difference in between this system and the upload of a, for example, JPG, an image, directly available at the website. So what can Photoview Web process? So it's clear that if we manage only photometries, data interchange files like the ULUM.dat or like the IS-LM63, We can produce photometric data. We can produce the polar and the Cartesian diagrams, the beam spread graphs, and all what is related to the photometry, isolux curves and whatsoever. But if we have more, let's say, structured files like the ISXML or the OXL files, we can produce straight away spectra and color planes. We can produce the CRI diagrams. We can produce macadam graphs. We can produce ISTM30 color graphics, or we can show the curve of flux power in function of source currents. And this is possible only with the OXL file, because up to now the OXL file is the only file capable of managing this set of information. But then we can produce photometry files in LDT, ISXML formats, even including flux power in function of source currents curves. So, for example, if you use the OXL file, you may have a function that it is automatically giving the designer the option to select the flux, or to select the power, or to select the current, and immediately, straight away, if you press on LDT, the program will download automatically the LDT file corresponding to the selection. So, at the end, you can imagine that Photoview Web is really saving, let's say, 90% of the time that usually manufacturers spend to manage data information, because they focus the manufacturer only to the basic information to be managed, like the, as we said, the OXL file, LDT files, and all the rest is automatically produced by the system. So just to give you an idea of what the OXL file is capable to include at the file: general product data, images, technical data sheet, photometry and spectrometry, flux and power in function of source currents, curves, the 3D of a luminaire, where we can connect directly the photometry, charts like instruments, equipment, uncertainties, standard followed during the measurement, because if we pay a look, for example, to the LM79 standard, or, for example, the corresponding EN 13032-4 standard, they ask us to manage through the measurement a quite huge set of information. And this information up to now, for all the files that we have been using up to now, like the IS files, we don't have in there, we don't have the, for example, the parameter of the current. So we are spreading out now thousands of millions, we can say, of files. But if we want to transfer the information of the current, this can be included only at the description of the product. So there is no parameter, and so there is no chance to manage, for example, whenever you import the file into a database, there is no way to manage a search on the current. And we have been working with the LED world for more than 10 years up to now. So there is really a great need to change something we have been used up to now. So at the end, I wanted to simplify over here the main features of Photoview Web. So Photoview Web is fully customizable. So we can customize for you the way we transferred the information. For example, if you want a polar diagram with the lines blue in place of gray, this can be done. This can be easily configured. Then it is multilingual. We manage now 25 languages. It is cloud-based, and all the calculations are cloud-based. We don't need anything else. It's all done, it's all performed at the web. Minimization of the required disk space. It's clear. you don't have to upload millions of files multiplied by the type of files. Undefined content generation. It's the designer who is asking what to produce what he needs. And we do not have to upload all the information that probably 70% of those information will never be used. So if the designer is willing to produce a file, is willing to produce a chart, it is done at the time in function of their needs. Graphic interface embedded in the website or hosted by us. So we developed the system in order to be very flexible. And I can tell you that it is possible to have different solutions because we may have a base Photoview Web with a certain set of information, with a certain set of services, and customized Photoview Web. In this case, so in the first case, the photometries have to be uploaded to Oxitec server. In the other case, the photometries can be placed wherever the manufacturer is willing to place the base files, the basic files. So, as we introduced the possibility to communicate via API only, photometric and spectral calculation, graphs, PDF reports. We can also, this is something I didn't mention in my presentation, we can also include XLS, X, CSV, PDFs, reports, etc., import and export files. So it is also possible to manage such option. High availability, concurrency, and multi-site. So this is Photoview Web. A perfect balance from our point of view for a faster and easy world. Thank you.